Hi, everybody. This is Justin from Water Underground sending you a message from Mozambique here at our headquarters. Uh, Before anything, I just want you to know that this is not a message to solicit donations or ask for support at all. This is merely a message to let you know, as part of the Water Underground family, what the situation is here in Mozambique, um, what the situation is in the communities that we work in, and within our team, and what Water Underground is doing right now, just to give you an update. Before I start with any of it, I just want to say that I hope whatever situation you and your families find yourself in, and uh, that you are sticking together and managing this incredible time with as much positivity and uh, power as possible. It's really quite something that not since the Second World War has the world been so united or gripped by a similar um, issue. And of course, that presents a phenomenal amount of challenges. But I hope at the end of this, we are able to see some beauty in the way that the world has worked together, the way in which we understand how interconnected we are, and how much uh, we depend on each other, and how beautiful a handshake is, and how much we cherish human contact. So I pray that all of you um, are feeling healthy and managing as best as you can in your own ways. As for here, as you may have been seeing in the news, Africa has been slow to have the spread of COVID-19. It's in some ways given many of these countries a 3 week month head start in terms of planning and preparing. Having said that, of course, we're dealing with countries that severely lack the type of infrastructure and expertise and um, um, abilities to deal with these kinds of things. I mean, of course, we're seeing countries in the developed world struggle severely, including, I mean, everybody is struggling with materials, capacity, everything. So you can imagine what it's like in the developing world, and what we are bracing ourselves for here. Um, South Africa, the neighbor of Mozambique, definitely is on the forefront of the amount of cases. They went into a military lockdown last week, and we are very alert about that situation, given that Mozambique depends on South Africa for virtually everything in terms of food supplies, everything that the country and the people depend on. So at this point, the supply chain is entirely intact, and no impact to that. Um, and Mozambique also has a very small number of cases. We've only just started having our cases. And uh, Yesterday was announced by the president to begin a state of emergency here. Already 2 weeks ago, the borders had been closed, virtually closed. Starting tomorrow, they will be fully closed, along with all the other measures uh, um, within the disaster situation. Just to tell you why I have decided to stay here in Mozambique. I've made this decision several weeks ago already. Of course, I miss my family dearly, but the reason I've stayed here is to ensure the that Water Underground stays alive, uh, uh, irregardless of whatever happens with this disease, and whatever lockdowns or whatever might come, to make sure that Water Underground pushes through all of this, to make sure that our staff is prepared, and I can help ensure that they are as safe and prepared for this as possible. And of course, to work in all the possible ways with the communities in which we have worked in over the past 5 years. Um, as for staff, I've implemented strict prevention and hygiene protocols, and so as of now, we are still working. All the schools have been shut down in Mozambique, so we are working exclusively just with the leaders, the chiefs of the community, and working to help their preventative measures. Um, Whatever we are meeting, we're of course meeting in small groups and trying to manage whatever types of contact we have within the team of Water Underground is done in the most um, uh, hygienic and safe ways possible. Um, of course, when we're dealing with military lockdowns in countries such as Mozambique, there is always the threat of the populations not adhering to it and the possible risks of any type of civil unrest. And I have created contingency plans for all of the team in case those uh, things happen. But I am hoping that, of course, that is avoided at all costs here in the country, and but nevertheless, we do have plans. Um, Now, of course, whatever preventative measures the country takes will be focused on the cities and the major towns to try to halt the spread of the disease, and rightly so. Um, However, Mozambique, 70% of the population is in the rural areas of which we work in, and those are the places that are going to be and are being neglected at this time. Um, they remain very vulnerable. So, a lockdown is a very good measure, as the rest of the entire world is doing. But as this marches through Africa, what we're going to see is a different type of reality of what that lockdown really um, can do, because in these rural communities, it's a lockdown just it's just not possible. Um, in many ways, to be able to buy supplies for 2 weeks or even a month is an incredible luxury for a lot of people in this world, and the ability to stay home and have that kind of isolation is a luxury. Um, and it's just simply not the reality for a lot of the population here in Mozambique, especially the communities where we work in. Um, they they work and for with whatever kind of trade or selling they can do on a daily basis to make enough money for that day. I think in the best of situations, any family member, if they had 3 or 4 days of funds for food, would be considered quite secure. It is very much a day-to-day situation of getting enough food, whether it's from the fields or from whatever kind of selling or trading they are able to do. Um, and simply put, you cannot stay home. Everybody has to go and fetch water every single day. The root of a lot of the work that we do, it is an absolute necessity. There is no piped water into the houses. They have to fetch water um, uh, every day. And in the houses, it's many times several, 4, 5, 6 people per room. So, given these limitations to what a lockdown, um, how a lockdown can be possible, what we have been doing is mobilizing all of the leaders and the committees that we work with, and trying to uh, work with them to create measures that they can um, do their best to prevent the spread of this disease in the community. Because as we're seeing in all of the world, clearly there's no solution as of yet. The only thing we can do is halt the spread or slow the spread. So, without doubt, many of these people in the rural communities with already a tremendously weakened immune system and lack of resources, really the only thing that can be done is to do every effort to prevent the spread of it into these rural areas. Um, so, having said that, uh, we've identified the community necessities. Of course, fetching water is paramount. So we have worked with the leaders and or we are working as what currently still with the leaders and members of the committee to have hand wash stations at the water well, and to have members of the water oversight committee monitoring the community members as they come fetch the water to deliver the message of what the reality of COVID-19 is. Uh, Much of our work is hygiene and sanitation. Those two are interconnected. So the messages and the work that we've done with a lot of these communities is already based on hygiene. So we do have a leg up on that message. So it's not an entirely new concept. And we've already heard from a lot of community members that they are grateful that we've come in before as we did, because they feel more prepared in this moment now. Without a doubt, the month head start that the community that these countries have had hopefully has allowed countries to prepare, but it's also contributed a great deal to a degree of hysteria and fear and anxiety over what is seen on the news and what the rest of the world is dealing with. And as we hear it coming into Africa and into each country, for sure the nerves are very high here. So working with the community to help them understand how this disease is passed on and how they can prevent it. So making sure as the people queue up for fetching water, they keep a safe distance before using the hand pump, washing your hands after using the hand pump, washing your hands. We have these community notice boards in all of the communities, which has messages about COVID-19 and in all of the local languages, so they understand what it is, how to deal with it. All churches have been ordered to close. Now, of course, again, it's hard to monitor those things in these rural communities. The government and whatnot will be focused on the cities and towns, so it will be incumbent upon the leadership in these rural communities to make sure that these measures are followed. As with many of these communities, the rules are a little bit different in there. They manage their own conflicts. They have their own set of rules. So it's important that the leadership gets behind all of this, and they are able to help control what goes on in the communities, making sure that all places where people would drink are shut down. And we're working really hard with the leadership to make sure that they get behind all of this. We have pushed all efforts ahead to complete a couple other water projects that we are just about finishing, hoping to have those done in the next couple weeks. One community, we upgraded their system to solar, and the timing has been very difficult because we've removed their manual hand pump, and before any lockdown is made for companies, we are working our hardest to make sure that community has access to water, and we're fighting and working from as soon as the sun comes up until the sun is down to make sure that project comes successful, so that the community can be having water in this time. So as of now, Water Underground is open for all of the work that we do. Our staff is very well understanding of the situation at hand, and we are absolutely dedicated to making sure that we can continue to serve the people that we have been working with over the past 5 years in these communities, to help prepare them and help them prevent or minimize the impact of this disease that the entire world is dealing with. So until the country imposes a mandatory lockdown of all operations except for non-essential personnel, it's still undetermined where Water Underground will fit within the context of that. We are a humanitarian organization, and will perhaps be um, categorized in that specific area, given our area of hygiene and sanitation, as being essential personnel in this work. But that is determined. But if the government enforces that, uh, it will force my hand to close down for a temporary period until we are able to resume work. Of course, also I will make the decision if necessary to close down if I feel the risk to our staff becomes too great, and of course thereby to their families as well. Um, my obligation is of course to the communities, but very much so to our staff. So I want to thank you for all of your support. And please, if you have any questions about anything that I've talked about, or any questions about things I neglected to mention, please let me know. Um, but know that we are fighting hard, and we're very grateful for your support, and just sending all of my wishes and prayers to you and your family, that you are able to see this through to the other side, and hope that we're all stronger for it. And really looking forward to the first person I shake hands with and give a hug. And I think all of us will really appreciate that moment. And I look forward to shaking your hand and giving you guys a hug on the other side of this. So we'll be in touch. And again, thanks. And, there's the saying here, Chicanwe, estamos juntos, we are together. And there's a beautiful saying also in South Africa, a greeting that just says, I see you. And although we're isolated, although we're separated, I see you. And I hope you guys see us, because we are all together. Thanks so much, and let's be strong together.